All right, go.
I'm rocking with Don Kilam.
Let's go. Also known as Malik Kilam. It's your boy Don Kilam, also known as Malik Kilam. And as always, prosperity is your divine birthright. It is a late night, very late. Almost midnight on the West Coast, almost 3 a.m. on the East Coast. Shout out to everybody that's live on the Instagram and the TikTok. Peace and love, peace and love, peace and love. I'm recording this for the school as well. So I'm going to go over some information. I want everybody to understand this because I want y'all to know how I came into this enlightenment. Not a licensed attorney, tax expert, just for educational and informational purposes only. Because people think the Freemasons they're not a secret society, or maybe they don't have nothing to do with the court system. They definitely control the court system, okay? Freemasonry is by definition, a secret society, but they do operate as unincorporated associations. I'm not going to get deep. This is how they operate in commerce, in the matrix, under unincorporated associations, charities, okay? Charities. I'm a Moor, by the way. Now, just on simple terms, Mason, mother, son, that's all it means. Mother, son, that's why you see the star and the crescent. Balance. Mother, son, okay? Mason, a builder, okay? But you can look at it as balance, just like Solomon, sun and the moon. Mason is the mother, son, the sun and the moon. The masculine and the feminine is balance, okay? Now, everybody is introduced into Freemasonry, whether they want to believe it or not. Okay, the first degree is being hoodwinked, okay? And everybody was hoodwinked by definition. They put the square on your head. Knowledge is rounded, knowledge is 360. I'm gonna get deeper. So I want to start everybody off with this. So the word deplume. I want to make sure y'all hear it. Let me turn up my volume.
Deplume.
It's a real word.
Deplume.
And that means to deprive a bird of feathers, or to strip or deprive of honor, status, or wealth. So when you get a diploma, they're depriving you of your honors, your status, your wealth. We used to be the chiefs. You used to be the chiefess. Okay? Now they're the CEOs, the chief executive officers, the chief financial officers. So they deprived you of that. Okay? Now, next, they deprived you of your honor, status, or wealth. Now you're thinking inside the box. Demographics is the graph of demons. All demographics is another square. They have you thinking inside the square, whether it's your state, your TV, your phone, your zip code, paperwork, your bills. Okay? You're playing the game. You're trapped inside the prison. Okay? When you learn how to think outside the box, you see my hand? Outside the box, because you're in a box right now. You understand? You're boxed in. Everything is sacred geometry. Your eyes are rounded and curved for a reason. They're boxing you in, okay? So we'll start there. Because everything is when you go to start looking up Masonic, look up behind the Masonic symbols, Masonic working tools. Becoming a Freemason is a lifelong study in learning to become a better man. It requires commitment, careful consideration, and daily mindfulness to live in the fraternity's values. So it's a club. I'm throwing it out there. But it says, this year is use the tools. A prospective Freemason must complete 3 lessons called degrees. And this is the Blue Lodge, the first 3 degrees. Before fully entering the brotherhood and becoming a master Mason, when a man embarks on his Masonic journey, he is uniformed. He's unformed, rough, and lacks the knowledge of an expert craftsman. At each degree, he learns more about Freemasonry, how to be a good man, and understand the supreme architect's designs. That's what they call God, the supreme architect. A few Masonic working tools include a compass, level, and square. The first degree is entered apprentice. It's a fellow craft. That's what's called private practice and public practice, okay? So I just want to bring that up. So going into the court system, I'm gonna touch back on the tools too. I'm gonna touch back on the tools because I'm gonna show you how the Moors taught us how to use the tools. Okay, they say Jesus was the master mason. So Freemasonry is by definition a secret society. It uses a secret system of communication because you're under terms and conditions. Spelling is spell casting. So you got to understand and understand how to get the language right. So it's a secret system of communication to identify its members towards obtaining preferential treatment in business, politics, and every walk of life. It also utilizes this system within the courtroom to obtain a favorable judgment that would not otherwise be rendered. In other words, it is a system used to corrupt the court system for its own personal advantage on a daily basis. These are not my words, okay? Masonic members all know this and will use this reputation of special treatment for recruitment purposes. As a result, many members have joined for the express purpose of gaining access to this treatment that enables them to circumvent the usual social norms of fair and equitable treatment. While some members join for the social and charitable aspects, most fall victim to the system. So, your duty to country. The Masonic oath definitely interferes with the Mason's duty to his country. For example, in the third degree ritual, the candidate swears, "I will keep a worthy brother, Master Mason's secrets inviolable when communicating to or received by me as such, murder and treason accepted." In the Royal Arch degree of the York Rite, even that small qualification is removed. The candidate swears that I will keep all the secrets of the commanding Royal Archmason when communicated to me as such, or I knowing them to be such without expectations and no exceptions. At this degree, the candidate also swears that I will not speak evil of a companion Royal Archmason behind his back nor before his face, but will appraise him of all approaching danger if in my power. Finally, in the Royal Arch degree, the candidate promises to employ a companion Royal Archmason in preference to any other person of equal qualifications. You have to pick your brother. An officer of the court who knew of an arrest warrant sworn out against a brother Mason would have to warn him immediately so he could flee the jurisdiction. A Mason who was told of a brother Mason's crimes, even including rape, robbery, or child abuse, would have to keep his knowledge of those crimes a secret, even in a court of law. A Royal Archmason who knew of a companion Mason's being a murderer or a traitor would have to keep his knowledge a secret. A Royal Archmason would be obligated to hire a companion Mason even for sensitive or skilled professions, even if he didn't have nearly the qualifications required. Additionally, though not mentioned in the oaths, many a times Masons get a fair trial in courts where a Masonic judge presides. And this is all facts. This is all facts. Now, I'm not going to get deep, but there's key words. There's key words how they communicate. So look, and how they walk, and the handshakes. Okay, so I'm not gonna get deep on all of this, but I'm gonna say a little bit. Okay. All right. So for example, a Masonic defendant in court might say, "I was hoping to get a square deal, Your Honor," with just a shade of emphasis on the word square. He could also say, "He is on the level. 3 phases are part of normal conversation. These phases are part of the normal conversation, but with the right inflection the other Mason understands." The same lines could be used in bargaining for a deal on a car or a home, going to a jewelry store to buy gemstones. I would say this to the manager: "I hear I can get a square deal here." He, if he didn't know me to be a Mason person, might say, "I see that you're a traveling man." I would reply, "I am. I travel from west to east and from east to west again." He might ask, "Why did you leave the west and travel to the east?" I would respond, "In search of which was lost." That would do it. He would know I was a master mason. I could usually get my gems for his cost. That may seem harmless in a minor business transaction, but imagine what would happen if this was done in a court of law, as it is being done every day. Another phrase or gesture, which is only to be used in extreme situations in the grand Masonic hailing sign of distress. All right. "Oh Lord, my God, is there no help for the widow's son?" Although this might sound a bit odd to the average listener, it could be understood as a cry of anguish. If a Masonic judge or juror heard it, they would be honor bound or by blood oath to acquit such a person, or at least fight for a hung jury. "Oh Lord, my God, there's no help for the widow's son." This is their distress signal. And then they got their own. It gets deep, but everything is like the tools in the mind. So with the Masons, let me go back to the tools. In the Moors, it's called the tools in the mind. Chapter 5, they said, and Jesus said, "Do you not know that I must be about my Father's works?" When they were searching for him, he was in the temple with the doctors and the priests, and he went around and pressed. So listen, but he went around and pressed the hand of every doctor of law and said, "I trust that we meet again." He pressed their hand, he pressed the knuckles. And then he went forth with his parents on the way to Nazareth. And when they reached their home, he wrought with Joseph as a carpenter. Joseph was a carpenter, okay? And you got to take all this stuff as symbolic, all right? When you're a Mason, you're an Eastern Star, you're a Rainbow Girl, you understand these to be symbolic. When it comes to the Rainbow Girls, that's the version. That's the version of the female version of the Freemasons. Every color of the Eastern Star, they got green, red, blue, yellow, white. And every one represents a female in the Bible. Okay? Everyone represents a female in the Bible. The star is upside down, okay? It is an upside down star. I'm not going to get deep on that today. But that's the order of the Eastern Stars, the OES. And then there's another one called the Rainbow Girls, the International Order of the Rainbow Girls. It's a Masonic youth service organization that teaches leadership training through community service. Young women learn about the value of charity and service. All right. Everybody has a story with this. There's different degrees of knowledge. Okay. There's 360 degrees. Everybody got a piece. Okay. Now, with the Masons, they have 32 degrees. And then the last degree is honorary. You have to get invited. You get invited to come in to get your first 3 degrees, and you get invited to get your 33rd degree. And you're a Master Mason. I'm going to keep going, though. So, Joseph, he rocked. He rocked with Joseph as a carpenter, Jesus did. So one day as he was bringing forth the tools for work, he said, "These tools remind me of the ones we handle in the workshop of the mind, where things are made of thought and we build up character. We use the square to measure all our lines, to straighten out the crooked places of the way and make the corners of our conduct square. We use the compass to draw circles around our passion and desires to keep them in the bounds of righteousness. We use the axe to cut away the naughty, useless, and ungainly parts and make the character symmetrical. We use the hammer to drive home the truth and pound it in until it's a part of every part. We use the plane to smooth the rough, uneven surfaces of joint and block and board that to go build the temple for the truth. The chisel line, the plummet, and the saw all have their uses in the worship of the mind. And then this ladder with its trinity of steps, faith, hope, and love, on it we climb up to the dome of purity and life. And on the 12-step ladder we ascend until we reach the pinnacle which life is spent to build a temple of perfected man." Now, I'm going to prove something. So, I know y'all can't see it out there. I don't know if I can flip that around. So look, I grew up in a town called Hannibal, Missouri, okay? And I always paid attention to their warrants. And I shit you not, I'm sharing my screen. I'm going to post this on the YouTube later. So search Don Kilam on the YouTube. It says, "In the township of Mason, county of Marion, state of Missouri." It doesn't say anything about Hannibal, Missouri. So in the township of Mason, county of Marion, state of Missouri. And when you go do a Google search of the Mason Township, it says it's an inactive township in Marion County. Inactive, because it's in the Mason Township. They're under a royal jurisdiction. They're under a private royal jurisdiction. These people pledge people to the public sector. It gets deep. I don't want to get it's a form of magic, okay? It's a form of magic. Let me see if I can flip this around, man. Let me see if I can flip this around. Man, because this...
We'll be back after a quick break.
Peace and love. It's your boy Don Kilam, and welcome to Dream Keepers Radio, that private life podcast. You're here, tuned in with your boy, and this is brought to you by Follow the Yellow Brick Road by Don Kilam. Search the book on Amazon now. Go get the book and uncover the matrix and how the United States is operating in the financial marketplace. Much peace and love. I mean, I can't even do it. This stuff gets deep. I don't know if y'all can see that. I got to highlight it. I don't know if y'all can see that. I'm going to try to show my Instagram family. I don't know if y'all can see that. In the township of Mason, County of Marion. Let me know if y'all seen it. I hope y'all seen it. It was backwards, if anything. So in the township of Mason, County of Marion, state of Missouri. Okay? And y'all look up Mason Township, Missouri. So they said they seen it. You look up Mason Town. Now Google Mason Township, Missouri. It's an inactive township. So I had to dig deeper. Yeah, it was backwards, but so what I was able to find was I started hollering at the secretary because I was working on this case. I reached out right to him. And then at the end of the day, I had to reach out to something called the Worshipful Master. Now, what the Worshipful Master is the most senior ranking among the officers elected by the lodge. So these, I can't speak for every city. I can't speak for every county. You have to pay attention to the words, spelling and spell casting. They're using things to trap you in the boxes, okay? So when I started learning what county was, because they're acting as, they can only be like royalty in these private groups, you know what I mean? Like you cannot be loyalty. You can't be royalty in the United States. They have no titles of nobility. Okay? But they recognize them. So when I started realizing what county is, look up what the word county is, the etymology of county. That's a shire. People don't even know what a shire is. The word sheriff comes from the word sharif, which is a Muslim ruler, okay? So I just want to throw it out there. A shire, a county, especially in England. A subdivision, a county in England, okay? Now, when you break it down, it goes back to the jurisdiction of account. And you have to truly understand what this means. Count is a European title of nobility equivalent to a British earl, ranking in modern times after a marquis, or in countries without marquises, a duke. So you're either a count, a duke, or earl. These are all the same words. Count, duke, or earl. So anytime you're in a county jail, you're in the domain of a count or earl. And who's putting you in this jurisdiction are going to be the Freemasons, okay? 9 times out of 10. Now, there's other royal families, and I don't want to get deep. There's other families that are doing this, because I'm telling you, these are families. These are families. I'm saying it again, these are private families, okay? And I'm telling you, the KKK do this. The Aryan Brotherhood do this. They're running your section. And a lot of people do not understand this. And they're called worshipful masters. They're called things like that. The Grand Red Dragon and stuff like that. What is the Grand Wizard or an Imperial Wizard? I'm telling you, when y'all understand what's going on, you will understand that these people are practicing magic and witchcraft with shapes. Okay? So it's called the Grand Wizard or the Imperial Wizard with the KKK. And they're playing games. It's like a form of voodoo on paper, a form of voodoo with terms and conditions. and your soul is acting out these spells. Okay? I'm trying to look up for the words. I'm trying to make it make sense and break it down in the simplest terms as possible. Sacred geometry is considered an ancient science that explores and explains the energy patterns that create and unify all things and reveal the precise way that the energy of creation organizes itself. So sounds create shapes. Okay? And then lines are part of sacred geometry that affect you a certain way. Okay? I hope this makes sense. I like this. They're showing me the circle of life and stuff like that when it comes to sacred geometry. But it gets deeper than that. It gets deeper than that. Look, it goes to shapes as well and symbols. Symbols. So all letters are, as curved lines and dots, they're symbols that represent something, okay? And they represent sounds, okay? They make you say sounds when you see them, okay? And I hope that I'm explaining that right. But they have mastered sacred geometry to make you maneuver a certain way. Okay. I just want to throw that out there. And that's what happens with court every day because you live in a free country. I'm trying to tell you, bills are free. Everything is free in America. And that's under their law. Everybody is paying, everybody is paying debt. Think they're in debt. And they clearly tell you debt belongs to the United States, which means a federal corporation. That's their law. All debt belongs to the United States. 28 USC 3002, subsection 3. Debt, an amount that's owing to the United States. I want that to sink in. I need you to understand that everything is like they said it. Someone just said it in the chat. Sigils. That's another term. That's another term for this. Everything is sigils. And the reason being, sigils, an inscribed or painted symbol considered to have magical power. And I'm gonna say that these things do have magical power. When you see your name written down, it has an effect on you. Let me know in the comments if you agree with that. Drop a 100. If when you see your name written down, you believe it's you, and it has an effect on you. And this is why you get freaked out when you get these bills in the mail. You get freaked out when money's taken out of your account. So everybody drop 100s. Everybody drop 100s. Everybody saying true. Fire emojis. Can I get a fire emoji? You know? So these sigils, so you can say when they're putting your name in all capitalized letters, they have it's a sigil. It's a form of a sigil. I like to call it sacred geometry. It has an effect on your mind. That's why I brought up the workshop of the mind that we read, the tools for discipline and balance, the Holy Quran, Circle 7, Chapter 5, verses 9 through 21. The tools of the mind. They're using these things to control you. So we can go back to the count word. When it comes to your credit score, you have to have an account. And it goes back, if you have an account, everything that's being accounted for goes back to the domain of account or earl. And that goes back to England because everything is considered registered. And Regis means king. Regis means crown. R-E-G, R-E-G-I-S, meaning king or royal. R-E-G-U-S, Regis. So anytime you register something, you're giving it back up to a royal family. These people are claiming to be royal families. When you're the real royal family, everything is backwards. You got diplomed and gave up your. Anytime you register anything, you register your kids in school. You're registering with the birth certificate. You're utilizing the birth certificate. You're registering things. And you're giving up to the crown. You're giving up your birthrights. You have abandoned your royal position. And it gets even deeper. And this is for the black folks right here. You think you're black, you're not black. Okay, the word black can be traced back to Blake, which meant pale, wan, colorless, or albino. Black means pale. Black, blaken, bleach. These come from the same words. So you're giving up your royal titles when you claim you're black. And even when you claim that you're white, because you're giving up something called a nationality. The right to a nationality is a fundamental human right. And the right under the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. There's a bunch of, and this is through the United Nations, by the way. So you have your right to a nationality. And you have your right to change your nationality at any given time. So when you're claiming that you're black, you're white, you do not have a nationality. Article 15, everyone has the right to a nationality. No one shall be deprived of his nationality, nor denied the right to change his nationality. So when you're claiming black, you're claiming right, that's giving up your nationality rights. So I just want to throw that out there. Black or white. But black means to be make pale. I'm just showing you how they're using paperwork, curved lines and dots, words that you think are your words. We come in there, we like think, look, one word that I like to bring up out the gate, it's gonna be Indian. Because everybody thinks that's the people who inhabited the United States first. Indians are in Southeast Asia, even though they're Hindustanians. That's the real nationality term. Hindustanians, but Indians are in India, which is Southeast Asia. You are tribal people. You had a tribal name. Your tribe was called something. We come from tribes. Because the Bible's a fact in the courtroom, we can go there. But so we go back to the Bible, we started from the 12 tribes of Israel. We started from the tribes. Adam and Eve. Cain and Abel. Cain killed Abel. Cain got his wife. There's Enoch, but Cain, that's the Canaanites. I just broke it down. You come from Cain, you're a Canaanite. That's why we're killing our brother every day. You understand? Pop my shit. Because if y'all followed that, I just gave y'all the lineage because y'all came in here using the Bible, right? Most people came in here using growing up on the Bible, which is fact in court. You got to swear upon it. You got to curse your God. You swear, you curse your God. But let's get deep. I'm not a native either. I would not allow them to ever call me a native. The term native means a person born in bondage. That's the real term of native. I would just say I'm the original, because even if I said I'm abnormal, what would that mean? That means I'm not normal. Let's see what the word ab before any word means. Away, which means away. Ab means away from, root word. So if I said I was abnormal, that means I'm not normal. So I would never even claim that I'm an aboriginal. I would say I'm the original. You understand? Do you understand? I mean, so far, give me 100, give me fire emoji. I got to know that this is making sense for everybody.
We'll be back after a quick break.
In a world where borders can limit opportunities, one book dares to challenge the norm and empower foreign nationals like never before. Introducing Can't Touch This. Diplomatic Immunity as a Foreign National by best-selling author Don Kilam. Did you know there is a difference being a citizen and national? This is for foreign nationals seeking to expand their horizons. Do you dream of obtaining a diplomatic passport and the freedom it brings? Don Kilam reveals the secrets to unlocking diplomatic immunity and creating your own nation. Discover why you are already a foreign national, learn the steps to obtain a diplomatic passport, and explore how you can be recognized by numerous nations on your diplomatic journey. Most never knew they could have diplomatic immunity as a foreign national. This book is a game changer for anyone seeking freedom and recognition on the international stage. Get your copy of Can't Touch This today and embark on a journey towards diplomatic immunity and creating your own nation. Order your copy now and unlock the power of diplomatic immunity as a foreign national. Can't Touch This. Diplomatic Immunity as a Foreign National by Don Kilam. Available now at leading bookstores and online. Get your copy today.
Got some fire emojis up there. I got you. See, when we look up the root word of smart, it means to cause pain. Everybody wants to be smart. That means you're causing pain or to suffer pain. Look up the word nice. What's the real meaning of nice? To be foolish, ignorant, frivolous. So I'm just breaking this down. I'm showing you, literally showing you how they're using sacred geometry. Because listen, you think those thoughts are your thoughts, but the words that were created, you were given the definitions to, without even giving the true definition. They tell you Daniel Webster was a slave owner. Daniel Webster, he handed down his name. He created his generational legacy, didn't he? So they're controlling your thoughts. If they teach you words and the definitions, you're controlled. Everything you believe in is controlled. That's a form of prison. They literally have your prison in a mind, or your mind in a prison. They literally have your mind in a prison by you choosing to be these certain things. So we're gonna go back. So why they call these people such things? When the Ten Commandments say do not worship any man on earth. So why would you in your right mind be calling this man a worshipful master? Why in your right mind would you be calling this man fucking Harry Potter, the Grand Wizard? Motherfucker wearing a motherfucking Conehead hoodie, and you're calling him the Grand Wizard. You understand? Grand Wizard, the Imperial Wizard. That's their leaders. These are the people that's leading your country. This is the people that's leading your public system. The Amish ain't going. The Amish ain't going. The Mormons ain't going. You understand? The Mormons ain't going. Jehovah Witnesses, J-Dubs, listen, man, the J-Dubs not going, man. Shout out to the J-Dubs. Knocking on my motherfucking door to fuck out my neighborhood. But shout out to the J-Dubs. J-Dubs, they understand the private life. And the reason why I bring this up, the reason why I bring up the J-Dubs, because I need a witness. That's why. The reason why I bring up the J-Dubs is because they have a governing body. This shit is hidden in plain sight. They don't tell their members, but this is what it is, okay? And then you go to the Kingdom Hall. They don't have a congregation. They have publishers. This is their private life, private family life, private governing body, okay? All right. And they operate under an unincorporated association. They have elders. They got their shit intact, man. They got the Watchtower. That's their motherfucking Secret Service people. You feel me? The faithful and discreet slave. The faithful and discreet slave is a term used by Jehovah's Witnesses to describe those whom they believe have been anointed by Jesus Christ to provide spiritual instructions to his followers. They have a governing body, and then look up the Jehovah's Witness net worth. Estimated to be worth $52 billion. And I'm telling you, they are securitizing. Listen, they create their own identities. They do these things. You get baptized with the Jehovah's Witnesses. They do your status change. You get like a baptismal certificate too. And they securitize these agreements just like the United States securitizes birth certificates. They create a whole identity for you. That is your government. That is your government. And that's why they can operate in multiple jurisdictions. They can operate worldwide through trust, ministry trust. And that's how the Freemasons operate worldwide. But I would guarantee there are more Jehovah's Witnesses than Freemasons. There's 9.2 million worldwide Jehovah's Witnesses and 6 million Freemasons. I was seeing that they had. Oh, they said they got billion. Yeah. They got more money with the Freemasons though. So I'm just bringing this up. I'm showing y'all how y'all trapped in these boxes. You remove all planes and all boxes from this courtroom. It will be a level playing field. That's how you got to deal with them. You got to know how to interact with them. All right, you got to know how to speak their language, and they do have agreements with Moors, okay, and they also got agreements with, if you understand Prince Hall. Prince Hall. People don't know that was a real prince. He fought for black people and got black Masons recognized through England and over here in America. All right. So look into Prince Hall. He's a real person. But I like the Moors. The Moors give the game. The people who go against the Moors are the Shriners. And listen, I'm not shouting out to. I'm not throwing out any shade on any of these organizations. I'm just giving y'all how it was given to me. Look at the Moors and look at the Shriners. The Shriners jack the swag and they put the star on the crest upside down and put the sword on it. That means they're at war with the real motherfucking Masons. You understand? Excuse my language. That means they're at war. They put the sword, that's their symbol, the sword with the star on the crescent upside down. There's a sword above the fucking crescent and the star. That means they're at war. Symbolism means everything. Signs and symbols are for the conscious mind. You understand? That's all I want to throw out there. You look at them, then you look at the Moors. Same thing. We just ain't, we're not we ain't just decorating our fez with stuff. We got the fez with the tassel. Some of them say Islam, some of them say some stuff. Elijah Muhammad, he had his fez on with the star and the crescent, but it wasn't upside down, wasn't no sword through it. I'm just letting y'all know, signs and symbols for the conscious mind. That's what I'm gonna throw out there. So that's what a real, when you get a real diploma, that's what it looks like. They don't put the square cap on your head. That means you are. Look at the graduation cap. Your mind has been squared. When you get degrees, that gives you the fez. You understand? Because knowledge is rounded. We're well-rounded individuals that think outside the box. So I just want to throw that out there. So I'm just letting y'all know, man, everything came from the Moors first. That's how it was given to me, you know. And that's where I learned all this game. A lot of the game that y'all get. So y'all want to tap in more? I might put this book. I think I'm gonna put the book in the school about Freemasonries in court. I'm gonna put this in the school, in the chat. It talks about Prince Hall too. I just seen it. It says, "How did Prince Hall Masonry come to exist?" It all seems to have begun with a black named Prince Hall. The exact history is hazy, but it's probably true that the British Army, for reasons of its own, authorized Prince Hall and 13 other black men to organize a lodge called African Lodge in Boston. This lodge, not recognized by the Grand Lodge of Massachusetts, refused to acknowledge any allegiance to that Grand Lodge and continued to operate in some form until the death of Prince Hall and his colleagues. In 1827, the system was revived, receiving no recognition from the Grand Lodge in England. The men decided to acknowledge no Masonic authority but their own. They decided that with what knowledge they possessed of Masonry, and as people of color by themselves, they weren't ought by rights to be free and independent of other lodges. From this beginning, a complete Masonic system developed and spread to Canada, Liberia, and other foreign countries. This elaborate Masonic system, a perfect parallel with white legitimate Masonry, is still classified as illegitimate and off limits to all white Masons. Crazy shit. But yeah. I'm gonna put this document, it's called the court system in Freemasonry, and it breaks down a lot of shit. And it gives you their oaths, all the oaths that they have to take. It breaks down all their oaths. Which, because they got the Scottish Rite, then they got the Royal Arch Rite, then they got Knights of Malta, they got the Nobles of the Mystic Shrine, Ancient Arabic Order. So tap into the school. Tap into the school. Text Private Life to 702-200-4900. Again, that's 702-200-4900. All right? Tap in and get this information. I'm putting it in the school right now. I appreciate y'all. Thanks for staying up late with me. It's your boy, Don Kilam. Make sure y'all go and like and comment on all this stuff on the TikTok, all the stuff on the YouTube, all the stuff on the Instagram. Much peace and love.
Flavor Flav in the building. Yo, Don Kilam, keep doing your thing, G. Hey, yo, check 1, 2. This is Flavor Flav in the building. You know what I'm saying? Word up. Hey, yo, make sure y'all check out the song bars. You know what I'm saying? Word up by my man Don Kilam. You heard? A Fresco King. Yeah, boy. You know what time it is. Make sure y'all check out the bars by my boy. All right? Flavor Flav in the building. Yo, Don Kilam, keep doing your thing, G.